Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. If we haven't got to meet yet, my name is Selena Madrid, and I am one of the new public information officers for the Las Cruces Police Department. Like I said, we thank you so much for your presence here today. Today is a really important day for our Las Cruces Police Department and for our entire community because beginning on Sunday, our park rangers will officially begin working independently in parks all across Las Cruces. Something we know that families, neighbors, and park users have been asking for and have been looking forward to. This program has been a priority for Las Cruces Police Chief Jeremy Story, who has worked closely with our team to make sure these rangers are trained, prepared, and ready to serve our community. We're excited to take this next step and to have a visible, dedicated presence in our parks focused on safety, access, and also quality of life here in the city of Las Cruces. With that, I'd like to introduce Las Cruces Police Chief Jeremy Story.
Thank you, Selena. Good afternoon. It's great to have everybody out here at the park. You see there's a bunch of people fishing. There's a lot of people at the park using it, which is exactly what we want to see and why this program came into being. I want to give you a little bit of history of the park ranger program. For fiscal year 25, we came to City Council and we said we'd like to do this to address some of the concerns that are in our parks so that families and children can use our parks without having the same issues that they were having. Council approved that unanimously. They backed this program. They stood beside us. And we started in January of 25 is when we had the funding to actually start this program. We had 400 applicants for that first batch. And I want to explain kind of the process and why it's taken so long to get to this point. So the process is very similar to a police officer with just a couple little changes. They start by applying, and then they take a written test. They do a physical test that's a little bit different than the police officer test. They do an oral board interview. They do a comprehensive background investigation. They do a polygraph examination. And if you've ever taken a polygraph, you know that's not fun, but it's necessary because it helps catch things that backgrounds might miss. And then they do a drug screening. They do a 5-week academy and then field training. At the end of that first process, we ended up with nobody left standing. We had no park rangers. And rather than compromise the standard or try to figure out, how do we recover from this, we said, let's start again, let's do it right. So we started again. These 4 went through a 5-week academy after going through that entire process I outlined, and they just completed 10 weeks of field training with both codes and community outreach officers out here learning how to do the job on the ground. So we're very excited to have them start on their own in the parks starting Sunday. We'll have 7-day coverage, not 24 hours. There's only 4 of them, of course. But we will have park rangers in our parks every single day. And their job is to help make people feel safe, help address concerns, and to provide education. Some of the times the issues we have are because people don't know. It's a lack of education. So part of their job is educating people, addressing concerns, helping people just feel safe by their presence, and when necessary, they do have limited enforcement authority to help deal with those issues. That's the overview of the program. I want to stand for some questions and see if you have any questions, and at the end I'll bring them up so they can introduce themselves. Yes, sir. So the question is, what type of calls will they be responding to? And they'll deal with a lot of stuff. My goal is first and foremost for them to be proactive. So before anybody calls, they're actually there discovering, talking, dealing with the issues so that we don't even have to have the call. But they'll deal with people in the park who are maybe in the bathroom, in the bathroom passed out, which we've unfortunately dealt with. Making sure that people aren't using drugs in the parks next to the playground or anywhere in the park. But we've had issues with syringes and other things in the parks and on the playgrounds. Those type of issues they're going to be proactively dealing with. Of course, if they're here at Young Park working and there's something happening at Lions Park, there's people playing tennis and there's some type of disorderly subject, they would go over there to help deal with that, along with our police officers. They're going to work hand in hand with our community outreach officers and our patrol officers to help keep the park safe. Any other questions? Good question. So kind of a two-part question. Are they able to issue citations, and what measures are in place to ensure their safety? So they do have limited authority under Chapter 20 of Las Cruces Municipal Ordinance, which is our Parks chapter, and they can enforce limited things. We have a list of things that we sent to the Parks and Rec when they go to council with some amendments to the Parks Ordinance that we would like to see. For instance, handicap parking. Right now that's not in there. It makes sense for them to be able to address that while they're here and not call an officer or a PSA. So there's some tweaks, but they do have some enforcement authority to issue criminal citations, not to make physical arrests. And as far as safety measures, everything they have on their belt is for self-defense. So it's not proactive use of force, but they do carry a baton, OC, and taser for self-defense purposes only, as well as the ballistic vest. Other questions? Yes, sir. I think we need to establish proof of concept first. So before I go to council and ask for more money, I think we need to show them that this is effective and actually contributing. It won't be the solution, but I am confident they're going to make a difference. And then once we get to that point, we'll see if we can expand the program. The question is, what do I want to tell park goers? And the message that we all want to send, along with the park rangers, is that we want our families to feel safe going to our parks. And we've heard for too many years, us, Parks and Rec, council, that people don't feel safe. Some people don't feel safe coming to our parks. We want to start changing that, and this is one part of that process. The question is there a common thread with the applicants, the people that actually made it all the way through? Is that correct? You know, they all come from different backgrounds, and that's the thing. It's not uncommon when we see applications for the academy, and we can receive 600 to 800 applications for a 20-person academy that graduates 15 people. So that attrition is not uncommon. The goal obviously is to screen appropriately, and sometimes a little bit of luck of the draw. But they come from different backgrounds, all four of them. I'm sure there's some commonality, but they're not all from the same mold for sure. That helps, but I think it can help. Obviously, it depends, but that's not necessarily what we're looking for. We're looking more for character, emotional intelligence. Those are the traits that matter because you can teach them everything else. Other questions? Yes, that was a good question. I'll try to repeat it so it sounds as intelligent. He's asking, we have PSAs already that kind of help supplement officers with taking crashes. How will the park rangers and other positions like that help, or how are they helping with our strained resources, especially for commissioned officers? Is that accurate enough? And it definitely does. A lot of departments across the country are civilianizing their police departments. They're trying to find every job that doesn't require a badge and has a non-police officer do that job. And here's kind of the in-between where they're not, records tech, but they're not a police officer. And finding where we can have other people help with that, the needs in the city that doesn't require a police officer. So park rangers are a big part of that. We don't have enough police officers. It's hard to fill those spots for us and many agencies. So anything we can do to supplement that and still keep the same level of service or higher is a win. Yes, sir. Yes, all our park rangers have body cameras, so that the requirements for them to record are the same as a police officer. Good. Yes, and we've already started that just kind of as they've been out in the parks, and our PIO's done a really good job of just talking to people, getting their input about whether they are excited about the program, what they think about it. We'll continue to do that. Right now, the staffing or kind of their hours are set based on data. So the times when there's the most people in the parks, when we have the most issues, but that's flexible. We're going to respond to kind of what's happening based on what the community thinks, what Parks and Rec, their feedback is. And so there's definitely room for us to change some things based on feedback. There are no further questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call them up. I'm just going to have them quickly introduce themselves at the mic one by one, and then if they can stand over here. But here's our 4 new park rangers. All 4 of you guys come up.
Hello, my name is Park Ranger Arman, and I'm happy to serve the community.
How's it going? My name is Park Ranger Lara.
Hey guys, I'm Park Ranger Perez.
Hello, I'm Park Ranger Holguin.
Once again, thank you to everyone that came out here. Thank you for the support of Mayor and Council that's here. Really appreciate you guys making this happen and being here today. And they'll be available just to talk and kind of converse after the news conference. Thank you again.